You think racism is a thing of the past. Think again. These statistics reveal the brutal reality Black people endure every single day. Asterisk 10. Health disparities. Black Americans are more likely to die from preventable diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. Historical context. Unequal access to quality health care, food deserts in Black neighborhoods, and systemic bias in medical treatment all contribute. Example. Studies have shown that Black patients are less likely to receive pain medication or referrals for certain treatments compared to white patients, even with the same symptoms. Impact. Chronic illness and preventable deaths are disproportionately high, which decreases life expectancy and perpetuates cycles of disadvantage. Transition. Health disparities are particularly tragic for expectant mothers, revealing systemic failures that start even before birth. 9. Maternal mortality. Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women. Historical context. Implicit bias in healthcare, unequal access to prenatal care, and socioeconomic factors all play a role. Example. Even affluent Black women have faced fatal complications in hospitals, where their concerns were dismissed or ignored. Impact. This is not just a statistic. It reflects how systemic racism can literally cost lives, and how Black women bear unique health burdens every day. Transition, and these disparities extend beyond health into opportunities in the workplace. 8. Employment. Discrimination with traditionally Black-sounding names receive 50% fewer callbacks than identical resumes with white-sounding names. Historical context. Racial bias in hiring has persisted, despite anti-discrimination laws, affecting career growth and income stability. Example. 2 candidates with identical qualifications may have completely different opportunities, based solely on their name or perceived race. Impact. This leads to fewer promotions, lower lifetime earnings, and ongoing economic inequality. Transition. If employment opportunities are restricted, education often carries the burden of change, but here too, disparities are glaring. 7. Educational inequalities. Schools in predominantly Black neighborhoods often receive less funding, resulting in overcrowded classrooms, outdated textbooks, and limited extracurricular opportunities. Historical context. Public school funding is often tied to local property taxes, meaning neighborhoods with lower property values often, due to historical discrimination, receive less support. Example. Students in these schools may graduate without access to advanced STEM courses or college preparatory programs, limiting their future potential. Impact. The education gap reinforces cycles of poverty and makes social mobility far more difficult for Black communities. Transition. Beyond the classroom, Black people face threats from hate and targeted violence. 6. Hate crimes. Black Americans are disproportionately targeted in hate crimes, accounting for about half of all racially motivated attacks in the U.S., despite being only 13% of the population. Historical context. Hate crimes, from lynchings to modern-day attacks, reflect ongoing racial animus and systemic neglect. Example. Attacks on Black churches or individuals show that these threats are both historical and very much present today. Impact. Fear of violence affects daily life, mental health, and the ability to feel safe in one's own community. Transition. Media, which should reflect society, often perpetuates stereotypes instead of challenging them. Asterisk 5. Media representation. Black people are frequently underrepresented or stereotyped in mainstream media, which shapes how society views them. Historical context. From early cinema to modern TV, Black characters were often portrayed in demeaning roles or as caricatures, reinforcing harmful societal narratives. Example. Black men are disproportionately portrayed as criminals, while Black women are often hypersexualized, creating implicit biases that affect everything from hiring to policing. Impact. Lack of positive representation limits role models, affects self-image, and reinforces systemic prejudice that reaches into education, employment, and law enforcement. Transition. Beyond media, political systems have also enacted policies that silence Black voices. 4. Voting suppression laws like strict voter ID requirements, purging of voter rolls, and gerrymandering disproportionately impact Black communities. Historical context. From Jim Crow laws to modern voter ID laws, there is a long history of political disenfranchisement aimed at reducing Black political power. Example. A Black voter may be turned away at the polls for minor clerical errors, while white voters face fewer obstacles. Impact. Political underrepresentation means that policies addressing systemic inequality are harder to pass, perpetuating cycles of marginalization. Transition. Political suppression is just one part of a larger pattern of structural inequality that even affects living environments. 3. Environmental racism. Black neighborhoods are more likely to be near toxic waste sites, industrial plants, or areas with high pollution. Historical context. Environmental planning and zoning policies have historically placed hazardous facilities near Black communities, often without adequate community input. Example. Studies show higher rates of asthma, lead poisoning, and other health issues in these areas, especially among children. Impact: environmental racism contributes to long-term health disparities, lower life expectancy, and decreased quality of life. Transition: in addition to environmental monitoring, Black communities also face heightened police surveillance. Point 2. Police surveillance. Black communities face heavier surveillance, including higher rates of stops, searches, and monitoring by law enforcement. Historical context: from slave patrols to modern predictive policing, law enforcement strategies disproportionately target Black neighborhoods. Example: cameras, drones, and constant monitoring create a sense of being watched, impacting mental health and community trust. Impact: heightened surveillance leads to criminalization of ordinary activities and fosters a pervasive fear that affects everyday behavior. Transition: and finally, beyond systemic structures, there's a daily, invisible form of cruelty that affects every Black person. 1. Everyday microaggressions: from being followed in stores to assumptions of incompetence. Black people face daily microaggressions that accumulate over a lifetime. Historical context: these small, often subtle acts of discrimination have roots in systemic racism and social bias. Example: a Black professional being questioned about their qualifications, a Black student being assumed to be less capable, or even being constantly policed in public spaces. Impact: microaggressions contribute to chronic stress, anxiety, and depression, and reinforce the societal belief that Black lives are less than. These numbers. These statistics, they are not just abstract figures. They represent real people, real lives, and the daily struggles that millions of Black individuals face across this country. From the moment someone steps out of their home to the workplace, to school, to healthcare, even just walking down the street, racism is often there, quietly, invisibly, shaping experiences in ways most of us might never see, but feel every single day. It's easy to think, maybe these are just isolated incidents, or things are better now, but the truth is, these injustices are systemic, woven into the fabric of our society, and they affect every aspect of life, from wealth and education to health, safety, and opportunity. Understanding this is not meant to make us feel hopeless. It's meant to awaken us, to recognize that the world isn't fair, and that fairness isn't something we can take for granted. But awareness alone isn't enough. Change begins with knowledge, but it grows through action. Talking about these issues with friends and family, supporting policies that promote equity, amplifying Black voices, and confronting microaggressions wherever they happen, these are the steps each of us can take. Even small actions, repeated every day, ripple outward to create real impact. Remember, this isn't just a Black issue, it's a human issue. Justice for one is justice for all. And until these disparities are addressed, none of us can truly call our society fair. So let this video be more than just something you watched. It's a call to reflection, a call to awareness, and most importantly, a call to action. If this video opened your eyes, share it, talk about it, educate yourself further. Subscribe to this channel for more content that challenges the status quo and uncovers uncomfortable truths. And most importantly, carry what you've learned today into your life, into your work, and into your community. Because the reality is this: every statistic you've seen, every story behind it, every cruel moment that Black people endure daily, none of it has to be accepted as normal. And the more of us who refuse to accept it, the closer we come to a world that is truly just, truly equal, and truly free. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And thank you for being part of the change that our world desperately needs.